Welcome. Hello. My name is Mona Hilton, and I am delighted that you joined me today. Welcome to A Buyer's Journey, Amazingly Successful Lead Follow-Up Strategies for Senior Living. That's a mouthful. Well, I'm so happy to see so many friends on today's call, and some of you who I don't know yet. I'm looking forward to that. But I would like to welcome you to today's webinar. Now, last month, we talked about how 1/8 of an inch can revolutionize your results. The response to last month's webinar was so positive. I got so many emails and a couple of calls. A lot of people had some questions about that. So today, this month, we'd like to spend a few months unpacking the concept of a buyer's journey roadmap in greater detail. So looking forward to covering that with you today. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about or you didn't see last month's webinar, send me a message in the chat portion of the webinar box, and we'll be sure and send you the recording of last month's webinar. I think it'll be well worth the 20 minutes or so for you to see the information and the stats that we talked about last month. So, as always, we're going to talk today in terms of senior living sales and marketing. But again, I want to point out to you that these same principles can apply to most areas of business and even life. So kind of keep an open mind towards that, if you will. Now, last month I told you a story about a man named Billy Epperhart. Hopefully you remember that. It's a true story about how a baseball pitcher got 1/8 of an inch adjustment by his coach. And that small minor adjustment totally changed the outcome of his baseball game. It's a great story. It's a true story. If you haven't heard it, be sure and get that webinar. Sounds like I'm selling a webinar here, doesn't it? But I related this story to business and how sometimes it just takes an outsider with a fresh perspective to help us see and make that 1/8 of an inch adjustment. I also shared with you some of the newest Google stats on senior living buyers and their influencers, their families, their children. You probably saw those stats in the pre-webinar preview, the little trailer that we run in the beginning. And I also talked to you about the sales funnel and why it doesn't work. It's obsolete, it's unrealistic, and honestly, it's really insulting to your residents and families for a couple of reasons. One, it treats prospects like they're just a number. They have no voice. They don't have any say in their buying decision, which we know is not true. Also, it doesn't allow for variation in the sales process. It doesn't allow for twists and turns in the process that we know happens, and it basically assumes that prospects just fall through the sales funnel. We know that's not realistic in today's market. Actually, the sales model has changed so much because of all the information that's available on the internet today. For the first time in history, the prospect holds all the cards. They have the power to conduct their own research, explore their own options, build perceptions, and all before they even speak to you. So with the buyer now in control, the buying process resembles more of a journey. We like to call it a path. Now, we would love to think or hope that that path, that journey looks more like this, a straight line from lead to decision. But the reality is sometimes it feels like the path looks more like this. Can you relate? I know I certainly can. Well, you've probably seen this depiction of what the sales process or success looks like. It sort of resembles a sales process in the buying journey, doesn't it? The confusion comes in when the process doesn't go in a straight line. How do you keep your wits about you and stay pointed towards the goal, even when the path is taking hard turns, stops and starts? And sometimes, honestly, it feels like we're just going backwards. It's not real logical. Well, let me illustrate what I mean a little more practically. Now, you're looking at a screen with the numbers 1 through 100 on it. You can also download this in your handouts if you'd like. Now, if I were to give you 30 seconds to find and circle the numbers 1 through 100 in order that you're looking at now, how far do you think you'd get in 30 seconds? How quickly do you think you'd get through them? Well, let's try. Let's give it a shot. Let's see what that looks like. I'm going to give you 30 seconds starting now. Now, I want you to count 1, find the number 2, find the number 3, the number 4, and so on and so forth. 10 seconds are gone. We're halfway through. How's it going? 15 seconds. 10 seconds remaining. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, stop. How far did you get? How'd you do? Tell me the number that you got to in the chat box. If you don't mind, chat with me. Let me know how your numbers look. Yep, that's kind of what I expected to see. I'm seeing, 12, 13 in that range. That's pretty typical. People usually get 1 a second or 1 every second and a half. That's pretty normal. Well, let me ask you another question. What word would you use to describe what I just put you through, the exercise? I typically hear the word stressful, frustrating, fun, not so much. Things I never hear are fun. Well, let me ask you, what if I was to show you a process or a system, if I can use that word, that would make this exercise a lot more productive, a lot easier, a lot quicker, and a lot less stressful? What would you say? I'm going to show you. So here are those same numbers, but now they're broken up into 4 quadrants. And I'm going to show you the system right now. The numbers are in the same place in each of the quadrants, moving clockwise. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You get the idea. You could probably get through almost 100 in 30 seconds by using this system. What this does, this exercise illustrates the power of a process. The process is what helps you get more focused, more effective, and more strategic. Now, once I showed you that process, you could work through with a lot less effort and get a lot more accomplished on this exercise. That's why we have a saying, you can only duplicate your success if you can replicate your process. Excuse me while I cough. So put another way, the small but strategic 1/8 of an inch adjustment that we talked about for senior living is in replacing that flurry of non-focused activity, disjointed tools, frustrating efforts, and the chaotic shotgun approach that really honestly just creates a lot more layers of stress and confusion, and replacing all that to selling with a process. More of a roadmap that's goal-driven and has intentional follow-ups that are always moving towards a milestone. That's the trick. If you have a system that anticipates and allows for the twists and the turns, working through the obstacles and the setbacks that are going to happen in the sales process. We've all experienced it, but always constantly focused on moving towards a goal, never losing sight of the goal. Now, it's that process, that system, or that roadmap is what we like to call it, that makes Occupancy Advantage unique. Yes, of course, we have an entire ecosystem to make all that possible. This ecosystem contains a fabulous visual CRM. Of course, it includes marketing, email campaigns, social media, posting, a relationship manager, we call it a relationship tree, for keeping track of the relationships and conversations with mom and dad and children and referral sources. Of course, it's specifically for the senior living process, so it tracks your occupancy and your census. It includes a lot of cool whiz-bang features that make people say, wow. And that's great. It has things like inter-community chat, so you can chat with each other back and forth. You can use voice dictation, so you don't even have to type your notes. You can speak them, and live feeds, so you can see what's going on in real time. But let me be very clear. The real power of Occupancy Advantage is not in all those cool features. It's in creating a path, automating it, and always nudging you through the process. Again, we call it a roadmap. That roadmap attracts your leads on your own website using content marketing. Now, you've heard a lot about content marketing, but in our world, these articles are articles that you can post and provide on your own website. You can have your own articles. We can also provide them to you if you need them. Now, these articles are intentional. They're designed to attract future prospects early on in their search, while they still might just be curious or looking for information, but not quite ready to commit to filling out a contact us form or schedule a visit form. Then this roadmap, of course, we're going to capture their information into your system and instantly start them on a personal nurture automation that happens all on its own. We call them Taskomatics. They're designed to cultivate, educate your prospects, equip them with relevant information, testimonials, maybe additional articles, even videos that coincidentally will also help you develop your credibility. And again, we call them Taskomatics because they're set it and forget it until your prospects are ready to engage with you. Nurturing is a great and non-threatening way that directs your prospects to raise their hand when they are ready to engage with a person. Also, it's how you can nurture early relationships with a whole lot of prospects and family members on a large scale without a whole lot of heavy lifting. So you're developing more relationships at the same time with a lot less effort, kind of like the system that we talked about earlier that helps you scale. Now, once you engage with your prospects, you have the opportunity, we like to think of it as a pleasure, to find out their specific life journey. Develop a warm, intimate relationship with them. Help them determine what is the best solution for them, the goal for them. Not for you, but for them, because that's why we're here. Then and only then can you put them on the right path and the right milestones to get you to the right goal for them and walk through the buying journey together as their guide. So many managers have told us honestly about their need to standardize the sales process, to make their processes consistent, whether it's consistency person to person or community to community, and then give their salespeople the tools that they need to follow up, especially when that journey is not a direct path. A manager just recently, about a week or so ago, told me, you know, my people are really good, but they drop off after the first follow-up or so because something else comes up and they just don't ever get back to it. You know, I get it. It's not surprising. It's actually human nature to get distracted by the, oh, look, there's a squirrel phenomenon. You may laugh, but we've all done it. And truly, a side story, that's why our webinars are now only 15 or 20 minutes long. As a society, we have the attention span of a goldfish, about 9 seconds. So that's good to know as you're working with your prospects. You've got to keep them excited and engaged. Now, this roadmap that I'm talking about, an Occupancy Advantage, ensures that no leads fall through the cracks, no matter what. And they all get the same white glove follow-up, and management can know and see where the leads are on the roadmap. Now, folks, what I'm not talking about here is a drip campaign. This is a process. It's a path. It's a roadmap that has specific milestones, suggested follow-up, and ultimately, of course, a goal. Now, you wouldn't think that that's such a big deal, except that that is the 1/8 of an inch adjustment that we talked about. And it gets lost in all the flurry of activity and CRMs and spreadsheets and sticky notes and running around. But following this roadmap is what makes a big difference in conversions. Excuse me. So we've talked about it from the community standpoint. Let's take a different role. Let's switch hats and let's put ourselves in the prospect's shoes. Let's look at how they do their research and what their experience looks like. So here's what I haven't told you. I could be a prospect for you. This is my mom. She's 86 years old. She lives alone. She's in pretty good health. But let's say, for example, that my mom fell last night. Thank God she didn't, but I'm just using that as an example. Or maybe I'm noticing some changes in my mom's forgetfulness. She doesn't remember necessarily the specifics of conversations we had yesterday, and I'm getting a little concerned, and I'm starting to get curious to find out what's in my area. What might my search look like? So, like statistically 87% of your prospects, I'm going to go to Google, and I'm going to do a search. And I'm going to search for retirement living in Fort Myers, because that's where my mom lives, and that's how a prospect or a family member is going to think about it. Now, when I do my search, I see some obvious ads, and I know they're ads. I'm a relative. That's questionable. Here's a directory map with the local places, but not really kind of looking for some more information. There's a well-known community in our area. They do a need to commit to a visit yet. I'm just curious, so I'm going to keep looking at Google, see what. Here's a directory, and I'm going to look at it. You know, it's okay here, but again, doesn't really catch my eye. This one has an article. It's about how residents live happy, what my search looks like. Now, hopefully you do a great job with your website and you can find you, but providing a place for them to stick, providing something of interest that speaks to where they're at in their buying journey. That's the trick. Prior to them contacting you or asking for a tour or anything else. So let's flip-flop. Let's go back and switch roles again. And let's look at how the roadmap looks like from a community side. This is our community website. Our leads come into our community, most often online or from our website. They can request an article or resource that's related to their situation or their interest or their need, like the one you see here or the one I showed you earlier. Remember, again, if you're looking for articles that are branded for your community, we have some that you can have. Now, when they fill out that form, you get an alert. When somebody downloads a form, you get their name, their information, what they downloaded. And all of that information goes directly into your system. It actually creates a contact record for you, so you're eliminating the data entry. It's touch-free, if you will. That person who fills out the form, your prospect, instantly gets a warm personal message from you, offering information or assistance if they need it. And your prospect instantly gets started on your nurture automations. That, again, we call it a task-o-matic. So let's take it from the top. A future resident, maybe their family member, goes to your website. They find a resource that speaks to them or their needs. They're interested, so they fill out your online form to get the free article. When they hit submit, they're instantly entered into your system. Contact receive a warm email from you offering your assistance. Simultaneously, you have a new lead. You might get that alert by email and inside the system. Your task-o-matic, your nurture program. Once you engage with them in person, needs and their journey, history, add a picture, whatever you'd like, while you're developing the relationship, so you can determine what is the right goal for them. What is it that they need? Because it's always about them. The Occupancy Advantage Roadmap helps guide you through the follow-up process by literally suggesting, as you can see here, different follow-up next steps to move you towards the current milestone and then the next milestone and ultimately to the goal. The system is constantly moving you in the right direction, nudging you forward, regardless of the stops and starts, the twists and turns along the way, keeping track of wins to move you forward. Now, from your prospect's perspective, you are just caring. You're showering them with attention, and you're offering them regular follow-ups with your roadmap, that nudging competitiveness, and of course, your success. Now, I say this, and you don't think the internet or your competition doing occupancy, recognize that there's a shift in residents, family members, the internet, and you sense that you really need to rein in the flurry and the chaos that your current sales process has that results in sporadic and inconsistent results. I would encourage you to take a closer look at Occupancy Advantage. It really will change the way you think about your follow-up with your prospects. Now, one thing that we have recognized over the last 7 years or so is that many senior living providers don't know exactly what that roadmap should look like right out of the gate. They don't want to go through a lot of trial and error. They don't know what are the best milestones, what goals should we use, how should our nurture and follow-up look. And we understand that, we get it. We wanted to make it easier and kind of remove the guesswork and how senior living roadmaps should look and work so that you wouldn't have to start from a blank sheet of paper. So what we did is we created what we call a plug-and-play, shrink-wrap version of Occupancy Advantage. It's specific for senior living, and it's already built out with the roadmap template, some of which I showed you today. It's really based on best practices of senior living providers across the nation. So what we're doing this month is we're offering a free trial to a limited number of senior living providers of this plug-and-play version. What we'll do is we'll set it up for you. We'll give you the plug-and-play version of Occupancy Advantage as it is right out of the box. No customization, but it's free for 30 days. You'll work with one of our senior living sales and marketing consultants. Excuse me again while I cough. You'll work with one of our consultants as they help you pick the right article and customize it for your website, even put it on your website. So you can see for yourself when the leads come into your system, when it notifies you, and you can begin the personal nurturing process when they instantly fill out your form. You'll see how easy it is for your team to engage your leads, pick the appropriate milestone, follow the yellow brick road, if you will, and guide your prospects through their buying journey. Then, of course, after 30 days, you can decide if you want to keep it and keep the leads flowing, or if you want to customize it further to tailor, fit your community, your culture, maybe add occupancy to it, that kind of thing. If that's interesting to you and you'd like to find out a little bit more about that free trial, just let us know. We'll help you determine if you qualify for it and see if it's the right fit for you. So we're about 15, 20 minutes, and we've come to the end of our time together. I know. I want to thank you so much for sharing part of your day with me and listening to my raspy voice today. I apologize for that. I'm fighting and winning against a cold. I hope in the few minutes we've had together you've been able to identify something that will help create a roadmap for you or improve your existing roadmap for your sales and marketing process. Now, last month I mentioned that I had someone step into our life, someone who cared enough about us to take the time to see and identify that little small adjustment for us that we needed to make that made such a big impact on our business. And I promised him that I would pay it forward. So if that's something that you're interested in, you'd like some perspective, I would love to walk through a strategy session with you. It's free. There's no strings attached. I'm not going to try to sell you anything. I just honestly want to help. And maybe I can give you some perspective. Maybe I can share a suggestion or two that will have an impact on your sales and marketing. So if you'd like to take me up on that, feel free to contact us directly. Our contact information is on the screen. I would truly be honored to help you in any way that I can. If you'd like a recording of the session, or you want last month's session, or you'd like some of the free resources that we have available, let us know. We have a lot of free resources that are available for you that I think you'll like. A guy by the name of Lance Armstrong, yes, that's honestly his real name. He'll be in touch with you to let you know about that free trial, see if you're interested in it, and see if there's anything at all that we can do to be of assistance to you. So as we wrap up, I would like to show you a short, it's just a section, a partial section of an inspirational PBS video that I saw about what happens when a nursing home and a daycare share the same roof. It's really cool. I'll show you about a minute or two of that. Also, as a reminder, if you haven't already completed the Senior Living Sales and Marketing Study, please do so. I will share this link with you again after the video. So thanks so much, and have a great day.
On it cat-wise as our review is to read down the McGovern lives at Providence Mountain Home in Seattle, the daycare for
Thank you. There you go.
100 residents are joined by 100 old and very young.
It's here not for the kids, but it's here for residents. Safety piece for and here and look at putting high quality chatting that links old and young together.
Have a nice day.